I
What's
am.
up, guys? It's Mitchell and Mitchell Sip and Spill. It's your boy Ed with
Girl, Kimmy
Sip
Kill.
and Girl Kimmy Kim. She is spill. She's spilling the tea, or we spill the beans, spill the teas, whatever we do. We sipping and we spilling. We're not necessarily literally sipping and spilling the day, but
Yeah.
we're gonna broach a topic that I think both in her and I have been I guess it's really prevalent in our community. I think it's prevalent in society in general. And I know I've been guilty of this, and it's been called basically normalizing toxic behaviors. And when I say that, I think it's kind of like for me as a man, I normalize speaking for myself and maybe other men, if I'm speaking for myself, normalizing what things aren't necessarily great. Uh, Relating to other people and toxic behaviors in the whole nine or whatever. And so trying to understand that or trying to get that and try to make sure you understand not to normalize that as a whole thing.
hmm
Um, I don't know if what you think about that when you talk about
I
normalizing
feel
toxic.
like I feel like normalizing toxic behavior is when like you sometimes you be doing stuff and you be like, oh, I know I do that, and then you're like, oh, I'm just trying to be funny. I'm just that, but you know you do that, and what you do affect the person. Now, what I just said, I'm trying to be funny, but more realistic, I would say more realistic is something like when, okay, just like we talk, Ed and I talk in real time. For example, I've been through a little things, some things. And so sometimes you can speak negative yourself. I'm a big person. I don't like that. But however, I did that. But normalizing that by me talking negative about myself or anyone or something like that, normalizing is just throwing a justification behind it. But I am. I've been doing this. I've been doing it. Don't normalize that mess. No, because it can set in your mental, okay, and your mental image of yourself, and then you react on it. So just like he just told me, don't do that. And sometimes it's hard to hear. It's here because in your mind you be like, really,
Yeah.
who the hell are you to be telling? But see, it also in the delivery, it has a very powerful delivery in things. Which for a person like me, it's not something every day. Like I'm not passive aggressive at all. So, but when he speaks, he's not speaking in a what I would like to be perceived in that way. I'm not aggressive that strong, but his delivery is getting the message across. So normalizing when something is toxic is also justifying in another way, justifying when you do bull crap. I mean, I'm just keeping it 100. Like, that you doing stuff to hurt somebody, that makes them feel a certain way. And you just like, well, that's me. That's me. Prime example. I talk about what I know, not what I heard. Had a friend that simply said that, you cussing. And I was like, well, you know me 40 years.
Right,
This is just what I do, especially when you take me there. And especially when I took what you gave me. So I picked up what you threw down, right?
Damn.
Now that's all justified, right?
Right.
But is that normalizing it toxic that I cussed? Hell no. You know why? Because that is me. Now this is where I wanted to be the differentiate on that. When you normalizing toxic behavior as well as being yourself. I'm not gonna shelve myself down to lift anyone up because they don't like the way I say or the way I do things. My delivery can be adjusted. Now that I can adjust. You know what I'm saying? That meaning you don't gotta be loud, you don't gotta be ignorant, and you know how to speak to who you need to be speaking to. But some people, what I like to call, you just got to speak straight nigga. I'm sorry. That's an ignorant person. So that day, that's who I felt like I was talking to. That's what they got.
That's how you dress them. You dress them. You gave them the energy. You met them on their level, as you would say.
Exactly.
So
I met them where they was at.
Right, met them where they was at. Exactly. I think like normalizing toxic behaviors and stuff like that. It was something I watched earlier. And it was on the Breakfast Club. Actually,
Yeah.
DJ Envy and his wife got a book they got out now. And the book they got out now was talking about their marriage and the whole nine, and it was talking about him cheating and stuff like that. And it was like men cheat to feed their egos, but it was based off of what like DJ Envy said and Charlamagne said the same thing. And I think I've done the same thing. When you were younger, you weren't that nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You weren't that guy. And I'm gonna say something about some athletes that somebody Earthquake has said before, but like you weren't that guy. So when you're not that guy, when you finally get a little status, you wanna your insecurities and all that stuff come out. So you try to prove, can you be this person? Can you do these certain things or whatever? So we're gonna you want to take a You want to time it out a little bit? You want to keep it moving, or what you
No,
want
we're
to do?
gonna keep it moving.
So yeah, I just I noticed on that show that they talked about that, and that was toxic behavior of justifying cheating because, and it was stuff that he did not take care of when he was younger as a man, that he didn't deal with his insecurities and his justification as to why he needs to cheat to prove that, man, I can get a bad one, I can pull somebody like me now because I'm this dude, where they want to check it for me younger. That's toxic behaviors that we
Oh, so you
justify.
saying he pulled what happened to him at a younger age, and that's what made him to be the way he is today? That's
Well,
what you're saying?
I'm saying that those it wasn't even like what happened. It wasn't even like an isolated incident. Like it's kind of was his existence. Like he wasn't the cool dude. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
he
He
right.
look
He
all
want
that.
that guy,
He wasn't that
and then he
guy.
became that
He
guy.
became that guy, and it was kind of like, hey, I'm that guy. Let me exercise it. Let me see if that's a real thing. Let me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let me walk in that thing. And you become a cheat. And that happens when you ain't that guy. You
Mhm.
kind of prove that you can make things happen. So it's kind of like it was like just who he was, these insecurities in men and stuff like that. And conversely,
Yeah. See, yeah, I challenge that because that's why I said that justification of certain behaviors, you normalize it. You know, as toxic as it is. You know, if something, okay, let's talk about this. Say you was, when you were younger, you were heavier, okay? And when you got older, you lost all that weight, you looking like, so now look, nobody wasn't coming for me when I was younger. But now that I'm up and I got my body together and I got my bread, this and that. So I can do what I want to do because no, that's normalizing that toxic stuff.
yeah, and that's what they were doing. They were justified. But I don't think what it was is that when they went to therapy, they didn't realize where it was fed from. They
Right.
didn't know it's fair from those things. You just do this stuff and you think like I'm just you what they do is they try to act like, oh, it's because I'm cold now. You know what I'm saying? Then they even really get into the root of why they started doing that toxic behavior and made it normal. They didn't even know that it was because his insecurities, they was these whack. It wasn't until they got revealed, like, damn, that's what it was. Because they thought that the normalization to me too with guys with that is like men do it. Oh, that's what men do. We're hunters and you know what I'm saying, all this kind of shit. And we gotta have what we want and the whole nine. And that's justifying it too, when it's really like, well,
Right.
that's that
Right.
bullshit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And
Right.
yeah,
Well, let
so
me ask you this: if do you think it's justified to normalize something that you do now based off where you at and what kind of man you are now versus what you didn't get when you was younger?
no, I think once you know it is there. I think we normalize it for a few different reasons. One, we don't know. I don't know. We don't have the right answers. And then the other side of it is that it makes us feel good and it keeps us in this weird position. Like um, I don't know, like with your woman or with your girl, you do certain things like I don't know, like control or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things they have to do for control. So men to do certain things for control,
Mm-hmm.
and they make it seem like it's just the position that men have over women.
Okay.
It's just that type of thing. We kind of normalize that, like the guys. Like I know some homies that are, I can't say the word I want to say right now,
Okay.
but they're guys that check their woman's article of clothing. That's the word that's a term, those guys, they checkers of that. And that's not, and they think that that's toxic. You checking they
You ain't never
garments,
lying.
that's
That
toxic. And we like,
goes.
yeah, that's what I'm.
But see, I don't feel like that's toxic. I feel like that's crazy as hell. And he got an issue, not her. But the women take on that is, first of all, we forget all about ourselves, and we'll be like, he just that way. He really loved me. We make that be beneficial to us. So that's what I want to say about that is the pattern to me when you say you normalize it and make it about you, because you said they don't really realize they do. I feel like a lot of people do. I feel like they normalize it. You know why? Because it needs to make sense to me for me to get, because I want to continue to do and behave and act like that. So I normalize it and I say things like, that's me. What you mean, baby? I mean, this is what I want. This is what I'm just. But no. Check yourself. Those inventory checks, as I tell yourself, and have that come to Jesus meeting with your spouse, your mate, or your friends with benefits, whatever it is, because I think that's where we truly miss out on what life really have. And the best relationship, the love relationship that you have, you create. So if you with somebody that's all over the damn place, and this like he know he doing it, but he's still doing it, to me that's just straight manipulation. Sorry without change behavior is manipulation. But it's the same thing. When I say normalizing toxic behavior or normalizing toxic situations or normalizing that I'm in a toxic relationship. He whoops your ass, so to speak. He talked to you crazy, call you all out your name. Okay. But you tell everybody he a good dude and he take care of the kids and he take care of me and the bills and paid. Well, that's your stuff. That's not, to me, that's not normalcy. But make fun every day, then that's on you.
Right.
But that's not that is a true normalizing a toxic behavior. That really is. That's a great example. And I think that when you take a good look at stuff first and really, or you get mad at a friend for telling you what they really see in that situation because they're not agreeing with you or they not going along with you and they get annoyed by what the hell you saying. Well, I speak, nigga and truth. You know what I'm saying? What we say, there's two stories and then there's the truth. And so we say it. So I guess, some things I want to say it. I think a lot of people and everybody probably have been, I can honestly say, been normalizing toxic stuff for years.
That's how to get through it.
And I'm going to tell you something. It's so much more reward in your life when you can see things 100% clear. You don't want to, because the number one thing, we don't want to see things clear because of fear. But at the end of the day, man, everything you want is on the opposite side of fear. Facts. Everything you want. Once you get over that hump, I promise to God, you can turn around, look back and be like, damn, really? It took me this long to get here? That's all I had to do was this? Because if you change your mindset, you change your life. That toxic stuff, like some people say this, and I know you heard this. You like being in a toxic relationship. You like all that back and going forth, or you like that, what I say, come here, girl, you know what I'm saying? Or she lets you do whatever. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way home with it. She let you be with how many females you want to be with. She ain't tripping. You let her come and go out whenever she want, whatever she want to wear. See, I disagree with all that. You know why? Because I want my relationship of any kind, friendship, relationship, whatever, to be what I make. That's why I say you should keep the shit to yourself. Because that's when you start getting other people coming all up in your cracks. And you should let it be. Because listen, if it works for you and you guys are imperfect, then you all are perfect together. That's your shit.
Perfectly imperfect.
Own that. That's yours. Right. It becomes bad or an issue or a concern or a back and forth when you allow other people to set in. Because when you make that covenant just between you and your wife or you and your husband in front of God and say, we want to take the next level to be married, that's an agreement that you all make.
Right.
It don't have nothing to do with no one else. Right. But I think as time go on and life go on, we evolve, we change, and then we bring other people in it. And then all these other opinions go on. So make your shit solid. Even if not, if you want to call it toxic, that's your toxic shit. But stop doing things and then saying, this just me. And you know that. And you know the shit is toxic. You know it yourself, and you know it yourself. Nobody got to tell you nothing. You know it yourself.
Right.
You really do.
And so I challenge all of us as we learn and we grow, we evolve, to have these dialogues and conversations so that you can start seeing that if you know shit ain't, and it's funny too, when you start looking at, you had those conversations, you talk to people, you be like, girl, blah, 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 man, y'all man do that? And they be like, no, we never. You're like, well, not, y'all, he don't beat y'all in the mouth for the, I thought that was.
Oh, you don't smack shit out you if you say.
And you think that stuff is normal. Everybody like, no, babe, that's crazy. That we don't agree with that.
Right.
I've had those situations where I've been in a situation and people are like, oh, you don't do that? We're like, no. It's sometimes, I'm not talking about some things that are so wonderful and stupendously great. Like, oh man, he don't, fly you to Paris every year. Like, no, I get that. That's some dope stuff. But like, oh man, y'all don't do this. He don't make sure you don't come home at a certain time. No, I mean, I have friends, friends of family, friends or whatever that have powerful position, women. Mm-hmm. And their husbands, even though these women are in power positions, they got loving husbands, they're good people. But when you start to learn more about them, you start realizing they're doing their husband like, you can't wear that, you can't do that. And they have nervousness and fears about what they can wear, how they can do their hair, the whole nine. And it's like, that's not really Good, especially if you don't like it. You're like, well, I want to wear this. I can't wear this because you know it feels good on you and it looks good on you, and you ain't on no bull crap.
Right.
And he's saying you can't wear that. Well, he questioned you like, why you got that? But you're trying to. That's not really a good thing, and we
Right.
normalize it because he loves you. And it's like, no, that's
Yeah, we
control.
normalize. You saying us women normalize it.
Just they don't normalize that, and even some men. I have a situation where some family members had their spouse creates these things in their minds. I would say about their husband's family. And they say these things that we've done. Everybody's looking around like nobody know what you're talking about. And he totally subscribes to it. And he knows, like, wait a minute, there's no receipts. It doesn't make sense. And his wife has done these things with everybody throughout her family, throughout his other extended family, with their friends. And he's normalized like that's cool.
Right.
Just for the sake, I understand loyalty. And we had a conversation about that. Like, do you rock with your spouse even if they own crazy? You rock with them regardless, you know. And so he does that, and that's just toxicity at its best. And you're normalizing it. You're allowing this craziness to happen. You allowing your husband to tell you what you can't wear. You allowing your wife to manipulate the situation, have you go against your family. I don't think there's any person in the world should allow you to tell you can't talk to your siblings or can't talk to your other kids. Here's one thing I thought was crazy too. There's other things that, and I never subscribe to this. And I love you told me some stuff about experiences you know of or whatever about people that if you are the new wife, right, and the husband has children with his ex-wife or ex-partner, and you're kind of like, well, we're not paying no child support, or we're not doing this, we're not doing that, and you're subscribing to that, and you're telling him it's okay to not talk to his child, or it's okay, or you're like, I'm not feeling her. You have this ought against this woman. I think that's toxicity.
Yes,
why
it
would
is.
you tell somebody not to see their child
Yeah.
or not have a relationship with their spouse or whatever if they don't? If there's no bad blood, there's no problem. Why would you do that?
But let's talk about if it is. So what if it is? What if it's she not letting you see the children? You know, so he coming home, he complaining, babe, you know, once again, I had it all set up. This incident just happened to me today. Fred called me, he was like, man, I can't even see my son. His birthday, you know, he said, once again, she pulling that mess. Like, man, I don't, you know. And I'm like, well, you know, at the end of the day, that's something you can't control. You can't control how nobody else gonna act. But the way you show up in life, you don't give that control up. So at the end of the day, you go around whichever way you got to go around it, but you get to it. Because if you don't, then that child is going to be perceived as, or that mate that's telling you to don't rock with that person and to get them and don't send none. Don't give her no child support. Don't give her no money then. Right. It don't work like that. That child ain't did nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? And this too shall pass with this person. You know, you want somebody that's going to ride or die for you. You want somebody to love you and your family and everything that's important to you. Real talk, you do. You want somebody to love you and whatever comes with you and, okay? And you might say that's a lot. That's nowhere near a lot. Hell, that ain't even enough. Because if you really mess with me, then you mess with me with all of me, all my different ways, you know, way I talk, my aggressiveness. I mean, I'm just keeping them on, and then I know that's the person you can say that they really truly mess with you. But that toxic way is if, just like Ed is saying, if I'm sitting up and my man has a child and his child mother don't want him to see it because today she just decided to just be irritating him, because most people do that when they not resolved. They still got feelings from their relationship and it's just not resolved. So they're still holding on, and then they use that child as a pawn. And it's ridiculous. The only person you're hurting is the child.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you know, and if I'm his woman, I'm not going to be telling him like, that's okay. Don't send her no money. Don't do nothing for that child. Don't do nothing. I don't do no mess like that.
Right.
Because then I'm normalizing the toxic mess he already in the first place.
Right.
So if you want to be, you're standing out on that is support.
And those are very great points, and those are things that we have to look at and stuff like that ain't cool. And you can do those, as we always talk about, and Kimmy always talking about doing those inventory checks and checking to see if this shit is normal. And I get it. I do get there's extreme versions. People have their relationship that's within themselves. That's how they get down. That's cool. But we don't normalize stuff like that. Like, again, we were talking about, like, if somebody like if I do something, I say stuff to myself. She says she hate when I say certain things. Like, I ain't this. So why do you say that? And that's toxic behavior. And she makes sure that, well, don't say that. Speak positive. Speak your life into yourself. Speak life into what's going to come. And she says it with her other friends. And those are like, she's not normalized. Like, that's not cool to talk down to yourself, to speak these things yourself. It's one thing to be honest and real.
Yeah,
that's one thing. I get that. but to be where it's like the honesty and real is for you to be better, not to be like, I
Right.
ain't shit. That ain't like you may have done something
Mhm.
that was whack and trashy and terrible. That's honest. But to say that you are that, that's being negative and you're speaking down to yourself and that's a toxic thought process on yourself. So listen, guys, I want you to like, subscribe, and share Mitchell and Mitchell Sip and Spill. We on all platforms, thank
Yep.
God. I keep messing with her about Twitter. I keep saying I'm gonna put us on Twitter. She don't really care about Twitter. We're gonna try
Keep
Clubhouse
saying
come
that.
next week, guys. Clubhouse, we're gonna be on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
We haven't been on it. We already got our account set up and everything set up on Clubhouse. We're gonna tell y'all when we're going on it, just to be fun to have conversations with everybody back and forth, like a more open forum or whatever. But we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. We'll be Facebook Live this Saturday, April 23rd. I don't know when you guys watch this video. This will be up for a long time. I hate saying dates on these because these videos will be up for a long time. But like, subscribe, and share. Mitchell and Mitchell Sip and Spill. I'm Ed. That's my partner, Kimmy Kim. I do my Eddie Edibles. She give her Kimmy Gems. Rock with us. We like you, love you, want more of you. Listen, and every time we do the show, you know what I say. It's been real, and it's been fun, and it's always real fun. Get with us. We like you guys, and we want you to subscribe and get notifications. Talk to you soon. Last words from Kimmy Kim.
Let that toxicity go out your life and go ahead and live an abundant life of love, laughter,